exquisite crust and wonderful taste. Dine at either of the Garibaldi's 2 locations in Hoffman Estates and Arlington Heights. Free party rooms are available too. Visit garibaldis.com today.
Discover the authentic taste of Italy at Massiano's Pizza and Pastaria of Elgin. There is one inexhaustible aspect of everyday life that never dulls, namely the simple pleasure of eating and drinking. Massiano's wants to make sure that this is the best part of your day. Visit Massianos.com and sign up to view their special offers all year long. Delivery, carry-out, or dine-in, enjoy it anyway, because life is good at Massiano's.
It is 9:08. It is time for Kane County Speaks here at WRMN AM 1410. WRMN Radio on YouTube. We just got back up on YouTube again if you want to join us that way. We always have the Image 360 information line. You can text us that way at 505-926-1410. 505-926-1410, or you can call us this hour too at 847-931-1410. Hope you had a pencil handy. That was a lot of numbers I just got through your way. I'm going to kick it over to Brian Anderson. He's here to host Kane County Speaks today and has been here all summer long through the campaign. And welcome back to the show, Brian. 2 days after the election. A lot to talk about today, right?
Yeah, good morning, Mark. Glad to be here. Another beautiful day in Elgin. Are we on? I can't even see myself on the big screen. There we go.
There you go. Thanks for letting me know.
And then we've got a special guest who is going to give us some insight to what's going on at the Kane County board meetings, Michelle Bettag.
Yeah.
And then I think at the break we might have a special guest, Andro Lerrario, the chairman of the Kane County GOP, just to kind of weigh in on the election, what's happened. So, and I think we're going to have a phone call here in a few minutes, so let me know if that happens. But,
Will do.
You know, you're right. I think our first episode was in June, and we had the candidate at the time for the Kane County chairman, Lance Bell, was the first show we had, and then now here we are, November 7th. And so we had a lot of candidates that we were supporting, the grassroots through Kane County, whether you're in Sleepy Hollow or Dundee or Sugar Grove or Elgin or Aurora. And we had a host of local candidates that we were really supporting.
Right.
At the end of the day, at the end of the election, we've got one of those candidates that we're so excited, Jonathan Gripe, who should be calling in, District 14 in St. Charles.
Yeah.
It was a huge battle for Jonathan. He had to run against Mark Davost, who was on the county board for either 18 or 19 years. And so he had to primary him, and he won. And it was a battle. And he won by almost 1,250 votes. So it wasn't just he beat him by 50 votes. It was pretty big. And then in this general election, it was a battle because you gotta work for months and months and months on the primary, and then no rest in between. So we're so excited. Also on the county board, I know I've shared with your listeners before, the makeup is 24 board members.
Mm-hmm.
16 Democrats, 8 Republicans. Bill Roth out of Geneva, he won. Right. He won his seat, and so we're so grateful for that. St. Charles, Geneva, yes. And then Rick Williams, that's the one out of Geneva. He was up for re-election, Republican, and he won. And then so we had some disappointments, some losses. Eric Stair, local here in Elgin,
right,
was running. David Tees running.
Yes. Here in Elgin, both disappointing. Both friends of the show and friends of mine, and Eric Stair, a fellow trustee of mine with the Elgin Township, and those two guys really, really worked hard, very hard, and so that makes it more disappointing. Yeah.
Sylvia Schrage.
Right. She worked hard, too.
She worked tirelessly.
Yes.
And she was running in District 20. And then the county-wides, Lance Bell running for chairman of the board, came up short. Gretchen Butler running for auditor, who just worked everywhere in Kane County, came up a little short. Andrew Sosnowski for state's attorney. He was a monster. Everywhere you turned, he was working everywhere in Kane County. I'm just so proud of their efforts. Anthony Catella running for circuit clerk came up short. So, it was a battle and a well-fought battle. Anything to chime in?
Well, I think, it's a little shocking, to be honest, as far as, attending Kane County board meetings, and you want to see change because I, as a citizen that started going to these meetings, I was blown away by the fact that, Springfield and Washington, D.C. had their hand in Kane County, and some of the current board members and chair have a big agenda for Kane County. So we were very hopeful that some of these homegrown local people that didn't have a political background or didn't have a say in, connections with trying to move up to Springfield or whatever, didn't win. They worked hard. And I think basically we are in Kane County, we're where the country was in 2020. And, is it fixable? Yes, I do believe. I think the general Kane County citizen walks through life not knowledgeable about the going-ons at the board meetings or at the board. And that's where I was 2020. I wasn't aware of, anything. Life seems great. But when you go back to having 3,143 counties in the country and you realize the amount of taxes that we pay in Kane County, Illinois is number 2. And Kane County, a collar county of Chicago, we pay the highest in the country. And, people will argue, well, our services and our way of life is great. And I want to say people, a lot of counties in the country, they have great services and ways of life too. The amount of spending and waste, and we'll get into that shortly, but it's disappointing because we had some great people. John Gripe is an amazing man. He has a financial background, and as you know, that's the number one goal of the Kane County Board is to balance the budget and deal with the spending, approve the spending. And unfortunately, a lot of the county board members lack the background in financial common sense.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, Michelle, because, most of the show I start out talking exactly about what's happening at the Kane County Board. And to Michelle's point, they just had the third special county board meeting that we attended with another handful of other concerned citizens around Kane County. And to our chagrin, we thought it was on the budget to discuss, and then it was off. And they decided right before the election, Corinne Perogue, the chairman of the board, they took off the discussion, the vote, to balance the budget. They could have done it before the election. Now, my opinion and my opinion only, they were playing the long game to see who was going to win, what was going to happen. I just checked this morning before the show. It looks like their next big board meeting is going to be November 12th for a county board meeting. However, the agenda has not come out yet, but I would anticipate that meeting that they're going to vote on the Kane County budget. And yet, as Michelle stated, there are several Democrats who I would say have the fiscal responsibility mindset. They've been challenging the chairman just like the other Republicans have. And today, in their county board meeting today, their finance meeting, at 11, the very last item on the agenda today is to field questions that the board members were able to turn in and ask the executive director of the county board. I think it's Kathleen Hopkinson?
Yep.
At the last board meeting, not the last, but the one prior, several board members go, I can't vote on this. I've got unanswered questions. And I'm so glad that they were questioning, because weren't there 4 or 5 board members that said, let's just go ahead and pass it?
Correct. And I do see this budget process being manipulated to the way she wanted politically, as far as doing it after the election. However, at that board meeting, there were several questions not accurate. There were many inaccuracies that had transpired and had been revealed. Yet, yes, you have the same 5 suspects that always cling to Chair Parag's agenda and vote yes. So, like for instance, Vern Tepe. I mean, when you're sitting there voting yes, even though, a very logical Leslie Juby poked holes through this entire process and said, oh, I literally do not feel comfortable with this. This is wrong. This is inaccurate. This, what are the true numbers? You get, like a Mavis Bates, Vern Tepe, Cheryl Strathman, all those people voting yes, and it's mind blowing. It's like having a 10-year-old run the county checkbook, and it's alarming.
Well, and I want to go back to your point about the election and Kane County. One of the reasons I got involved in the whole grassroots movements was to do my civic duty. I'd never done it before. I wanted to see if I met people that were like-minded, were working on getting the right people in the right seats to do the right things for people here locally in the county. And I actually became an elected precinct committee person, and I think you are, yes. And I think you are as well.
Right.
And, for me, and you touched on it, Michelle, the average citizen, everybody's working, everybody's busy. If I've got teenagers, I'm shuffling my kids to softball and hockey or the play or the theater, whatever. And so at the end of the day, for me, knocking on, 1,000 doors all over Kane County through this election cycle, every time I would talk to a constituent and say, here's who I am, here's why I'm knocking at your door, here's this booklet, there's 24 board members that represent you and I, John Q. taxpayer. Do you know anything about Mavis Bates? Do you know anything about Dale Berman? Do you know anything about Vern Tepe? Right? And the overwhelming answer was no. And when you started to talk with them and go, here's why I'm here, here's the candidate that's running against this person, these are the eyes were opened. I even had soft Democrats, which, by the way, I think at the end of the day, these titles need to come off because people want good fiscal responsibility. But my point was, I had many Democrats go, Brian, come on in here. You need to talk to my wife about this. Come on in here. Can you tell us some more? They were hungry for information that they didn't know. And I'm walking away from this election cycle going, awareness, awareness, awareness. If everybody in Kane County knew what you were talking about and would pay attention, I personally believe there'd be a different outcome. Any comments on that?
No, I would agree. And I think, our county has been Republican. And again, I don't like the titles, but our county was Republican for many, many, many years, forever. And I think the ground game of the conservatives was lost because they took for granted where they were. When you have a very huge machine in Cook County trickling out to the collar counties, we're a huge target. You see the money that we receive. You see the money that we receive from Washington, D.C., from Springfield, and from outside interest groups. You see that King County is a target. They want us to be blue. And, honestly, I have so much respect for so many of the Democrats on the board. It's not a party necessarily. I just want someone doing their job. Questioning, it's a big job. They get paid $25,000, soon to be $30,000. If somebody wants to do it properly, it's a full-time job. And you can talk to candidates and say, oh, it's only a few hours here and there. It's a huge job. And if you want to do it properly and read your 900-page packet, it's something that it takes some time. And you want to do your research on, say, for instance, the $2 million award that we received in King County, which still stings to me because, You hear it time and time again. All of these counties and states have outlawed any type of Zuckerbucks money, any type of election integrity awards for no reason. And, we did receive that in Kane County because they want us. And they want us to play along. And, we can talk about, we could probably be here for 3 hours today because the amount of phone calls that I got at certain polling locations with illegal immigrants voting or, just a little sketchy. Now, am I saying that it would have changed the outcome? I don't know that. We'd have to dive deep into a lot of this data. However, there are a lot of shenanigans that go on, and we know that. That's the beginning of time. Man, is good versus evil. And, but yeah, I think this county board, could be a lot of improvements with some of the people that are on the board.
Yeah, and, what you said about just the $2 million, that was probably one of the first aha moments for me when I first found out about that. And I'm going back into my memory. I think that was February of 23. I started to go to these board meetings because I had read that John Jack Cunningham, who is the county clerk of elections, he was nominated, Kane County, only 10 counties in the United States to get this $2 million, right? And after doing all the research and digging in, and you have to come to one conclusion that it's not good, right? Now, as we speak today, on November 7th, he still has the money, and he does have to spend it by December 31st of 2024.
Yes, and prior to that, we did receive a $350,000 award in 2020. And we know just from history and enough evidence now that, say, for instance, Milwaukee, they outlawed all those awards. And basically, we did receive $350,000 first, and then another award at $2 million for doing election integrity well from a private organization that had no contributors listed on their tax returns.
Well, and part of those 10 counties, and I think I've mentioned it on your show before, Mark, that I know for a fact 2 of the counties, after they did their due diligence, did their research, they actually gave the money back from the group that gave them the money to begin with. So here in Kane County, I know that conversation was broached with John Jack Cunningham, and, after the end of the day, he's like, nope, we earned it, and we're going to keep it, and I'm going to use the money any way I see fit. But I want to go back to what you said, Michelle, about the counties and how once Kane County was very Republican, and it's changed over the years. And just for fun, knowing that we were going to be on today, I took a little peek into the data, and so I live in Sugar Grove 4. And you get in and you look at the precinct data, every citizen, so they voted for President Trump, right? Voted all the Republicans down the list. In your Campton 9, voted for President Trump, and then all Republicans. Now, interesting enough, President Trump won by just 2 votes out of your precinct. So what's my point? Every vote does matter.
Wow.
And then I got to, you're in Elgin 45.
Yeah.
And interesting enough, Harris won in your precinct, and it was all Democrat. Not one Republican at all won any particular for them. The other thing I found interesting, and I'm going off the top of my head now because I should have put the data down. Here's the example. In Sugar Grove 4, where I live, and I'm just saying 1,200 people are registered to vote in Sugar Grove 4, and 950 voted. My point was 230 people didn't come out and vote in Sugar Grove 4, okay? In Campton 3, where Andro lives, 179 people didn't come out and vote. In your precinct, 169 people didn't come out and vote. And in your district, in your precinct, Mark, 232 people didn't come out and vote. So What I don't know is, was those 232 Republicans, were they a combination, right? Independent, no party, Democrat. My point is, when you go through the 292 precincts in Kane County, I'm convinced, and I haven't looked at all the data yet because it won't be out fully for another 10 days because they're waiting for all the vote by mail and some of these provisional ballots to come in. I believe, and this is just Brian's opinion, if 292 precincts were walked and worked and educated effectively and efficiently, I think we'd have a different outcome. I think a lot of people, for many different reasons, at the end of the day, didn't go out and vote. And, you know, I think you've got children. I don't know if you have children. I've got 3 adult children. And, you know, day one, it is a privilege and a responsibility to vote in this country. And you should get out and vote and do what you need to do. Any comments?
Well, it's just it. Like right now, like I said at the beginning of the program, you know, in Kane County, we're basically like 2020 throughout the country. So what I'm saying is we need to start boots on the ground starting now. Our Republican Party is being rebuilt, and that's an amazing thing. And, you know, grassroots is trying to help the GOP be rebuilt. But we need foot soldiers. We need people that are passionate. And even if you are, you know, it goes back to my good friend saying, we don't care about who you vote for president. We care about local politics. So if there's somebody that is a better candidate, would you cross over? And a lot of people answered yes. And we had an independent running in Aurora. And that man, he didn't care about party. He isn't a huge party. He isn't a party guy at all. He wanted to make a difference at the King County Board because he started coming to the King County Board and watching what was happening. And I think, you know, we are attached to the GOP. We are Republicans because we are conservative. And we would like people to get involved. We have a huge referendum, which we'll talk about, that's going to be on the April 1st ballot. We need people to come out and help get that shut down. And, you know, I don't know when you want to talk about that, but we will get foot soldiers out letting people know. And the 292 precincts in this county are underrepresented. And, you know, the chairs are having a difficult time recruiting. And I think, you know, if people, I mean, you saw it countrywide, our country, I mean, overwhelmingly voted for Republican President Trump,
yes.
Right? So it's not that we're, you know, we can't change things. It's not that we don't have the people, you know, and obviously Trump is a polarizing candidate. So maybe there would have been a different outcome as far as Kane County because people are typically voting down the ballot. So
well, and that's great. And we will talk about that referendum. We've got to hop into our first break, and we'll get back to that.
Yep.
9:30, this is Kane County Speaks. We have 2 callers on the line, and we'll be right back.
Emphasizing the bond's focus on improving infrastructure, enhancing safety, and creating positive learning environments. Kane County voters voicing their support for property tax increase aimed at enhancing local forest preserves. 55.36% of voters approving the proposal, which will raise $6.9 million next year for the Kane County Forest Preserve District.
With your 1410 WRMN Newsflash, I'm Sean Curdan.
Lowe's honors our military community this Veterans Day and every day. To say thank you, verified military members, veterans, and their spouses get 10% off everyday purchases, plus free silver key status with My Lowe's Rewards. It's our way of showing our gratitude to the brave people who have and continue to serve our country. Learn more now at lowes.com/military. 10% discount can't be combined with another offer. Exclusions, terms, and conditions apply. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds, which could be life-changing. I mean, you could put that money towards that zero-turn lawnmower you've always wanted. And after using its edge-shaping technology to meticulously sculpt the face of the Mona Lisa into your grass, you'll become the undisputed king of Saturday morning lawn care, leaving your neighbor and sworn enemy Gary to question his place in the delicate neighborhood ecosystem. And it's all because you could save money switching at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN. NFL Sunday, the 4-4 Bears host the 2-7 Patriots. Chicago's 4-0 at home. At United Center last night, the Blackhawks came up short, losing 4-1 against the Red Wings. Dylan Larkin and Alex DeBrincat with a goal and an assist apiece for Detroit. Nick Foligno scored Chicago's only goal. The Hawks dropped to 5-8-1 overall, just 1-4-0 on their home ice this season. The Mavericks beat the Bulls 119-99 last night. The Bulls are 3-5 with the loss. Nikola Vukovic, 14 points, 10 rebounds. While sitting out the fourth quarter, Chicago played its second consecutive game without leading scorer Zach LaVine. He's dealing with a right abductor strain. The Bulls have lost 3 in a row.
Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive.
I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
If you're not planning to come into Macy's this week, you're missing out because our Friends and Family Sale is happening now. What does that mean? It means when you use your coupon or Macy's card, you can take an extra 30% off, just like Friends and Family can. That's 30% off the latest trends, 30% off new arrivals, 30% off the best brands. It's just this week. It's just what you've been waiting for, and it's only at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
The 90s called. They said the Gordita Supreme is so back in the new $7 Lux Cravings box from Taco Bell. It's all looking fresh to death with the pillowy 90s Gordita Supreme alongside the beefy 5-layer burrito, double stacked taco, chips with nacho cheese sauce, and medium drink. All for just $7. It's your wallet's favorite cheesy crunchy combo here for a limited time. Grab yours and relive the decades only at Taco Bell. At participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only. While supplies last. Contact store for price and participation, which varies. Drinks and foods freezes. Tax extra.
We are back. It is Kane County Speaks. It is second half of the show. Good conversation in the first half. Phone lines are open, 847-931-1410. Brian Anderson, and we do have a couple of phone calls to get to in this half hour.
That sounds good, Mark. I can't wait to listen to these callers.
And Andro's here, too. You want to come on in, Andro? Come on in, Andro.
Special guest.
Got a seat over here for you. All right, so let's take this first caller at 847-931-1410. It's the guest you expected early in the show. It's Jonathan Gripe. Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning. How are you guys?
We are good. Thanks for calling.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Out. Thank you very much. I'm out and about pulling up campaign signs. So there's some very unglamorous parts of running for office, and this is one of them. But it's great exercise.
Brian?
Jonathan, I just want to publicly congratulate you for your hard work. All of the candidates worked hard. But you got over the finish line. Bill Roth got over the finish line. Rick Williams got over the finish line. What I'm speaking with that are the county board members. And so just delighted that you're going to be representing St. Charles District 14 as a county board member, and just so delighted and enthused of your expertise and experience and what you're going to bring as a great collaborator to the board.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it. I've thought a lot about this because clearly we're not, I'm on the side that's not in the majority. But, I was talking with Dan Ugasti, who also was reelected this time. And Dan, every day he goes to work, he's in the minority, a strong minority down in Springfield. And so he and I talked a little bit about, how you still can be of value, how it doesn't matter how many people are one side or the other. When it comes to getting things done, it's all about collaboration. And I'm looking forward to working with people who really want to do what's best for the county. I can't tell you how many texts and emails and personal notes and things I got all through the campaign, and then a wave of them after the campaign just saying, hey, we believe in what you stand for. We're supporting you. And I was like, okay, that's good enough for me. And we're going to head in there and see what the good Lord, has me do, and just do everything I can to make Kane County a better place because, we live here too. So I'm just excited about that. I think there's a lot of opportunity to get new things considered and reconsider some old things, and just we'll see what it is. It's going to be exciting.
You know what, John? I think I'm very confident with your leadership and your financial background. I've known John for years. He's got a great head on his shoulders as far as finances go. There are some people on that board that are on the other side as far as politically that will welcome you, embrace you, and will be grateful for your knowledge as far as wisdom, as far as the financial part, because some of them just don't have that background, and anybody that can add, wisdom and knowledge to that, the biggest job that they have is the budget. I think they're going to be very happy to have you. Not all of them, but I do believe a good handful of people will.
Andro, anything to chime in?
Welcome, Andro.
First, good morning.
Yeah, Andro Lerrario is here with the Kane County GOP.
I'm still trying to get caught up. I'm still exhausted.
Yes.
John Gripe he's an unbelievable person, and I'll tell you, John is the miracle guy too, because he actually spoke with my wife when she was going through the cancer and gave her a rosary, and I think that what it did was it helped us get through a lot of emotional stuff in our house, and a lot of people don't know this, that John did that. So yeah, you're one of my favorites, John. How's that? And I really respect him. I got to be honest with you. I respect all our candidates. Our candidates work their butts off, some more than others. It's not a secret. And I really feel bad for a lot of them. And the reason why I feel bad for them is because of the fact that they work their butts off. And as I analyze this more and more, and I got to be honest with you guys, and I'm not going to get into it on this show, but the more I analyze this, the more it's starting to stink to high hell. And we'll get into that later as more information comes out. But I will tell you this. We're going to keep on working. We had close to 300 people show up just at our function the night of, which tells me that there's a lot of people that believe in us. There's a lot of people that want to work with us, and a lot of new people showed up that night at our party. And it's because of not only the work that we do, you guys do. We got Michelle and Brian in the room over here. We know what they're about, and they work their butts off for us. But guys like John Gripe, Eric Stair, David Tees, they just Gretchen. My God, Gretchen, you talk about, she was crying when I spoke to her yesterday. That's how emotionally she was spent into this election. And that's the type of people we want to keep around, because whatever didn't happen this time, we're going to make it happen. We're going to figure out what went wrong, what went right, and we're going to make it happen. And we have a president and a vice president and a Senate and a House to lead the way, right? So that's the big plus for us. The votes turned out better than expected, even in Illinois, for Trump. So there's a lot of stuff to work on. But man, I'm so glad we got John Gripe over there at the board to work for us.
Well, just two things before we go to the next caller, and thanks for calling in, Jonathan. I don't want the listeners to miss this. This is a guy who worked tirelessly through the general, obviously, but during the primary. But what's he doing today? He's out picking up the signs, right? Talk about a servant leader who tirelessly working and knocking and meeting people all over his district. What's he doing today?
Yeah.
He's out picking up the signs. So a tireless champion of the people. So proud of you to be representing all of Kane County, but more specifically District 14.
And I just want to shout out to his wife, Pam, who she was incredible with just, the data, the getting assignments out to people. And, it takes a toll on the spouse. It's a lot of work. And, both of them have been so heavily valuable to the community over the years. John was an Eagle Scout, and I just think wow, that work ethic right there. But I mean, the volunteering that he does in our community, people knew his name. And, that's what we're looking for in candidates in the future is people, with their names are out there. They've given their time. They're very selfless. And John is definitely that guy.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. And, as Andro was talking about, results and our new president, I was just thinking, what if Donald Trump had come out of the last election and said, okay, I lost, I quit, I give up, I'm going away,
Right.
and he didn't.
Right.
Right?
That's it.
He didn't, and he came back, and look what happened as a result of him just having more garbage poured on him than anybody would ever deserve. And I looked at that and I say to everybody who worked hard, and there were a bunch of them and didn't win, stay in the fight. We have a lot that we can do. There's a lot of people that want a conservative voice. They want a common sense voice, and that's what we need, whether it's school board or county board or, mayors or anything like that. Just, folks, get involved. If you don't want to get involved, I'm going to do what I've done all through the campaign. My phone number, my personal cell phone number is 630-336-4400, and I passed it out to every single person I went to. But call me if you're like, hey, I don't know what I could do, how I could do it. Give me a call, send me a text, send me an email, and we'll plug you in and let you know what the options are just to help out. Forget party labels, forget that stuff. We're just out to try and serve. And if we all do that, what a great place Kane County is going to be.
Amen to that.
I think John's going to get canonized.
Amen to that.
Excellent.
John.
Excellent, John. Thank you for calling in today.
You bet. Thank you.
You get some more signs now.
He's got a lot of them.
Yeah.
We got another caller, Mark?
We do. It's 9:44 here at WRMN. I want to say that on YouTube right now, 2 comments have come in. One from Nat1 Gaming. The next election started yesterday for Kane County 2026.
Correct.
Is the first comment. And then the second comment's from Sherry Aschenbrenner, who listens to this show every day and likes this show and leans this way for sure. And she says, congratulations, Mr. Gripe. You represent my district.
Amen to that, and amen to your first comment. Andro and I and Michelle talked about that at the election party that, and Jonathan mentioned it. So just because President Trump and J.D. Vance are in, now it's time to actually fight. Right. We've got much work to do across the entire nation. And I can tell you the 2 people sitting here next to me, what your caller responded, yeah, it did start, and we're ready, and we're already putting plans together. Absolutely. And we're excited. We're not discouraged. We're not defeated. We're going to continue to fight and win. So anyway, just wanted to thank that person.
Well, and we'll take this phone call, but I'll say that when I talked to Lance Bell the other night at the party, when we had him on the air, he said, I don't know if I'm going to win tonight. I might not. It's not about me tonight. It's the beginning of a movement. And a lot of people in this room are here tonight, and they're here to celebrate the beginning of this movement. We may not have a lot of winners in this room tonight, and we have a lot of winners, but they might not win the election here tonight. But they'll be around next time, and the fight is only beginning.
Amen.
Well, and I think that's the thing that President Trump started, whether people like it or not. A lot of things were revealed in 2020 as far as, government control, big pharma, media. A lot of things were revealed back then. And that's when the movement started. So even, if President Trump didn't win or if he, something happened to him, the movement started then and it's going to continue. And we're super excited and we need people desperately. Like, we can't take our foot off the gas now that President Trump won. It's literally starting here in Kane County. We've started rebuilding in 2020. Andro started a big movement himself during that time. And it's just growing and growing because we were in the basement, and before, we took things for granted. It was a red county, and then, people took it for granted, and it creeped in.
2 more phone calls here at 847-931-1410. Larry's been very patient, and he's with us here on the show now. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I just wanted to say to these 2 people, Brian, I've listened to your show before. Michelle, I want to thank you. But to all the people that are there, I guess, Michelle, your comments, and Mr. Lerrario, all you guys, I can't tell you how proud I am of you. I think what you've done, and Andro, to your comment about something stinks, I do think that if Illinois was only 4 points away from having Trump, and yet we saw what we saw here, I'm not going to be an election denier, but I do wonder as far as the legitimacy of everything. But that's probably for another conversation, another episode. But for these people that are here, Mr. Gripe and whatnot, I cannot tell you how proud I am of all of you. You led, and I do want to tell all your listeners and fans out there that to get involved means you don't have to know a darn thing about politics. You just have to be fed up with the status quo, the uniparty, the things that don't seem right or smell right. I would bet from your comments, Brian, and you, Michelle, and maybe even you, Mr. Lerrario, that at some point a few years back you didn't even know anything about politics other than what you saw on TV, and yet here you are leading the charge. So it doesn't matter your political acumen. It's just getting boots on the ground and being fed up and wanting to actually work.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Right, you're exactly right, Larry, and thanks for bringing that up. That, when I got into it, I knew absolutely nothing. I still don't know anything, but I know more than I did 19 months ago, and I'm charged and excited.
Yeah, it was a calling. We take on the calling. That's all we can. That's all we can do.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
All right, take care. All right, two more calls here at 847-931-1410. Still two more calls on Kane County Speaks. Let's see who this caller is. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. I just have a question here, what your opinion would be about the process. The process drives the policy. Illinois, in national terms, was not a target state, so the national parties didn't do too much in Illinois. Particularly the Republican Party, I don't think did much in Illinois. So, what would the difference be if, like village board members, school board members, library districts, they're all elected on a nonpartisan basis? Why not elect local officials, at least at the county board level, and maybe at county-wide offices? Why not just elect them on a nonpartisan basis? And if nobody gets a majority, you have a runoff election. If you can elect city councilmen in Elgin, if you can elect library board trustees, in some townships, I think they're nonpartisan. In some townships, they have partisan elections, larger ones.
Well, I think a lot of that is
these small local elections. Why not elect them on a nonpartisan basis where everybody's on an equal footing?
Well, that would be probably incredible. I think a lot of that is decided from the State Board of Elections, so it's not like something that Kane County could just take over and do. We are, following the State Board of Elections for Illinois, but ideally, yeah, that would be great. Even though, most people, you'll meet somebody like a mayor. Well, I'm not in either party. Everybody's a party. Even when you see an independent or a non-party person, everyone sways one way or the other, and but mostly we're following the State Board of Elections on that.
Andro, anything to add?
What he's saying is that R or that D obviously sways a lot of people, right? Yes. And eliminate it, and maybe we can does it make it a more balanced situation? You know what? At the end of the day, if I'm an R, but I'm saying the right things and doing the right things for our community and for our county, you as a Democrat should see that, should study that, and make a decision that says, hey, you know what? He's not a Democrat, but I'm going to vote for him because I like what he's doing and the fight that he's putting. So, that's kind of like almost an excuse for us not really looking into our own self and our responsibilities. I said it the last time I was on the show. I've said it on other radio stations. You gotta take the blinders off. You gotta stop voting with hatred and blinders for that Republican or Democrat title and vote for what makes sense. Okay, and that shouldn't have to be something we have to punish somebody. We have to take this away so that we do it the right way. No, you should do that already. Make your decision. Study. Understand who your local your local political figures are, who your candidates are. Look into them. Get the truth. Don't go by what the media or the other side is telling you. Meet the people. Go to the functions where they're at. Talk to them, and make your own decision. Because I will tell you that a lot of the voting is done based on just emotion and whether you hate or like the guy and or the lady and what's being said about them by the other side, right? And there's a lot of untruths to a lot of things that are said. Okay,
we could talk about that for hours. I just want to give one example. So I was walking up in Dundee 5, and I came across a voter, and he goes, Brian, he goes, I wish I would have met you a week ago. He goes, I already voted, but after we talked for a while, he had no idea who he was voting for.
Right.
And he goes, I wish I would have. Now that you've talked to me, now that I understand, he goes, how can we get better at that? I said, well, that's the $1 million question, John Q. Taxpayer. It's all about awareness. And I think that going into this next cycle, we've got to figure out how to let the voter know what's going on, right? The people that represent us in this book, what are their voting records? He had no idea. I pulled up the voting record. I just happened to have it with me. I go, here's how they've been voting. He goes, I wish I would have known that a week ago.
Yeah. But the voter has to also make the effort to seek the information out because it's out there, okay? And we can do what we can, but they have to seek it. They have to look and say, hey, I want to be educated. And it can't be just, let me call Andro and you tell me who to vote for, Andro.
Right.
No, it doesn't work that way. Know who they are because I might pick a bad one for you, So that's a big part of it. And I don't know if that's just removing the R and the D behind the names. Yeah, I mean, there might be a little bit something to that, but we had an independent run. And so I would say just we have to be responsible for our actions and what we do.
Agreed.
What we vote for.
Pete, thanks for the call. We're going to let you go. We have one more caller, okay?
Yes.
All right,
Thank
take
you.
care. Hope you got the answer you were looking for. Last caller, because we're down to about 4 minutes left in the show already. Good morning. Welcome to Kane County Speaks.
Hey, this is Jim Whittington, and I know you got. I'll make my comment real quick. The last caller actually brought up a point I wanted to make, and that is we've got to get back to teaching civics to our youth. I just became aware of an organization called the Jack Miller Center that is trying to bring back civics. We need to teach our young people really what this country is all about. And you talk about these different parties. We got to go back to where, it used to just be statesmen that served for a couple of years and then went back to their regular job. We got to get rid of the professional politicians. It's one thing to maybe serve 2 years in Congress, then go on to the Senate, then maybe go on to something else, but not to be like a Mitch McConnell that's in there for his whole life. And so we got to do that. And, it really galls me when I hear this thing about protecting democracy. People don't even understand we are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic.
Amen.
And people need to learn what that really means.
Yep.
That's my point. And I'll hang up and let you guys, but just congratulate everybody for their hard work. Thank you so much.
Thanks for calling in, Jim.
Our county and our country. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jim. All right, 9:55, about 3 minutes left. What can we accomplish in this little bit of time?
Well, with 3 minutes left, that call to action, what do you want to keep talking about, Michelle, as far as, the citizens of Kane County continuing to go to these board meetings because with the budget coming up, that needs to be resolved. But what else do you want to let them know as we've got 4 minutes left?
Well, I think it's huge for everyone in the county to know that our spending, in 2020 was $78 million, and it's increased to $139 million. Any way that say Chair Parag wants to slice and dice it. Yes, with some of it because we received COVID money, because we received grants, yes. The problem is they take on these expenditures, but they don't drop them off after the grant money has increased. So it's taken hundreds of years to get to $78 million, And it took us another 4 years to almost double it. And it's alarming. There's no sense of fiscal responsibility at the county. With that being said, there's going to be a $51 million tax increase on the April 1st ballot. And if you want to get involved, this is the time to do it. It'll be a low voter turnout, and we can really get the message out. $51 million on groceries, on diapers, formula, on things that everyday Kane County citizens use. So it's a retail tax that we will be voting on whether it will go through, for them to receive another $51 million to mismanage that. So the answer will be overwhelmingly no. We do not want that. That's something that's easy. Stop spending. Very easy. Very easy. And so I think if people realize we pay the highest county taxes in the country, the waste is astronomical, the mismanagement is astronomical, that we need to get that message out. We are looking for volunteers. The GOP is looking for precinct committeemen. There's some holes that we need filled in the county desperately. We're calling for a call to action to get involved. Even if you're not comfortable doing door knocking, there's so many spaces for marketing, for just, stuffing bags. We're going to start right away with this message because they just got more of our money for the forest preserve. And it's mind-blowing that people are they sell these messages, and it's horrific. They're masters at marketing, and just a couple more dollars, people, just a couple more dollars. We pay the highest in the country.
Well, what Michelle is alluding to, it's going to be on the April consolidated election, and people do need to pay attention. And again, when I was out door knocking, talking to specifically independents and Democrats, and I'd reference it, you live in a beautiful home. Do you want to continue to pay higher taxes? And the answer is no. And so people, to your point, Andro, we need to educate them and let them know what's going on. Now, as we get ready to wrap, you came in. Any final words for the listeners?
How much time do I have?
None.
I know. We could be here for 3 hours.
You guys talk, and you took all my time away. And I don't even know how to put this all. Here's what I will tell everybody. You're gonna have people telling us, "Oh, we got killed. We got this." We did not. We did not. We lost some incumbent seats of Democrats that were already there. We really lost Rob Russell on the corner, which he's getting replaced. A person of law is getting replaced by a chiropractor. Can't figure that one out yet. And then Eric Stair, which the seat he lost there was held by a fellow Republican who was, I'm not gonna hold back, was voting Democrat on most stuff anyway. So I don't know if we actually lost a seat there. But here's what I will say: we won. We were winning before these elections even came around. We stopped tax increases. We stopped stupid spending on a building that we didn't need for the health department. And by the way, I wanted to let everybody know that Corinne was on a show here at this station in the afternoon bragging about a new health center that was opening up in a building that we already own the county. So what we did was we stopped the stupid spending and forced them to use a building that's already there, and then they turned around and actually bragged of their accomplishment. So I just want everybody to know we already had our victories, and we're going to continue to have them with the right people, and we're going to continue to put right people in place. We're a force to be reckoned with, whether you guys like it or not, okay? Our grassroots people are going to continue to fight for us.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
I have nothing else to say on that. Thanks, Andro.
Thanks for being in today, Brian.
Thanks,
Michelle,
Mark.
Andro. It won't be long before we have you back in one way or another. So,
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. It's Kane County Speaks today on WRMN. Have a great day.